But the crucial point is that the most obvious of these places is right above highs and right below lows. Retail traders assume that when the market breaks a high, it will continue to the upside, and when the market breaks a low, it will continue to the downside. Retail traders also place their stop-loss orders right above highs and right below lows. In both cases, we are dealing with buy stop orders right above highs and sell stop orders right below lows. Retail traders often overlook the fact that highs and lows are not the only source of latent retail liquidity in the chart. These are the most obvious of the latent liquidity sources. The bottom line is that any type of trading technique that is widely used by retail traders will have the same effect because retail traders will behave predictably around it. So beyond highs and lows, techniques like clear trend lines, obvious Fibonacci levels, widely used moving averages, breakouts of common chart patterns, and even psychological levels in the market can be subtler sources of liquidity beyond highs and lows. Latent liquidity happens wherever retail traders behave predictably. In that sense, latent liquidity is not a feature of market structure exactly. It's a phenomenon that emerges from the predictable behavior of retail traders. The buy stop orders right above highs and the sell stop orders right below lows cluster and form what is called a liquidity pool. The important thing here is that when price moves above a high, it triggers a surge of buy stop orders that emerge in the order flow. Recalling that for every buy there must be a sell, this represents a great opportunity for the smart money to enter the market on the opposite side. So right above highs is a great opportunity for the smart money to go short, and right below lows is a great opportunity for the smart money to go long. Liquidity pools represent areas where a lot of trading activity can occur without causing significant changes in price. A liquidity void is the opposite idea of a liquidity pool. A shallow market creates a low liquidity environment where price can travel a wide range without too much aggression. A wide movement does not necessarily have a lot of power behind it. Liquidity voids allow price to travel far without too much trading volume. Highs and lows are not created equal. We have major and minor highs and lows. This leads us to the idea of fractal price movements, which is the intuition that highs and lows happen within one another. Between one major low and a major high forming a range, we usually have a few minor highs and lows. So outside the two major extremes, we have major liquidity pools, and inside the two major moves, we have smaller liquidity pools, areas of normal liquidity, and areas representing liquidity voids. It's important to point out that latent liquidity has different degrees depending on market structure. The first distinction here is that highs and lows have different sizes. A major high or low will produce a more pronounced effect in terms of latent liquidity in comparison to a small high or low. The reason for this lies in the behavior of retail traders. They assume that the breakout of a large market extreme is more important than the breakout of a small market extreme, and therefore, more stop orders tend to cluster around major market extremes. Another aspect that changes latent liquidity is when market extremes form in the same level. Retail traders will predictably assume that the breakout of a pattern like this is a more important event compared to the breakout of an isolated market movement. The degree of latent liquidity is proportional to the perceived strength of the support or resistance in question. The intuition you need here is this. Imagine the price chart as a three-dimensional structure. If we rotate it, the liquidity pool below the double bottom would be deeper. The deeper the pool, the more trading activity can occur there without significant changes in price movement. Now that you have a good understanding of the basics of liquidity, let's move on to how to actually trade with it. Liquidity concepts are useful when we remember that liquidity is not a destination in the price chart. It's a mean of action, the fuel for the smart money movement, so to speak. Combining this idea with basic market structure and a basic notion of supply and demand zones, we can anticipate big moves produced by the smart money in specific cases. We need the ideas of strong and weak highs and lows, both major and minor, break of structure, supply and demand zones, and what we already saw in terms of latent liquidity. Let's imagine, for example, that the market is trending up. Whenever price breaks a previous high, the low that originated the movement is classified as a strong low. The high that was broken is classified as a weak high. The event where a weak high is broken is called a break of structure in this case. In summary, a break of structure leads to the perception of strong highs and lows. This is the most basic and perhaps most important notion of market structure. That also leads to the detection of supply and demand zones. Since we are dealing with an uptrend, the demand zone sits right above the strong low. Right below the strong low and right above the weak high, we have liquidity pools. The question that naturally emerges here is, how do we know if the demand zone will hold, because sometimes it simply doesn't. This is precisely where the idea of liquidity can help increase the chances of success in a trade. The key is looking at the price movement against which price is retracing to detect internal levels of latent liquidity. Let's organize that a little bit and define the upper price movement as the range and the subsequent downward price movement as the pullback. Now we need to understand the fractality of price action. You may have noticed already that sometimes price moves smoothly in a straight line, and sometimes price moves in a more chaotic and noisy way. In the fractal analysis of markets, clean movements like that are classified as low fractal dimension, and jagged movements are classified as high fractal dimension. The reasons for this and how you can use it to your advantage go outside the scope of this video. If you want to learn more about it, check my premium course called Fractal Trading, Mastering Price Action and Beyond. We need to classify different scenarios related to the level of smoothness in the price movement that forms the range and the price movement that forms the pullback. There are 4 possibilities: a smooth range with a smooth pullback, smooth range with rough pullback, a rough range with a smooth pullback, and a rough range with a rough pullback. The main point about this is that a rough market structure, both from the range and the pullback, creates lots of minor liquidity pools. And these minor liquidity pools help increase the chances that a supply or demand zone will hold as expected. For example, here we have a smooth range and pullback. The demand zone out of the strong low is less likely to hold because there are no minor liquidity pools above the strong low. So if the smart money wants to get in the market, it will need to trigger the major liquidity pool below the strong low and then drive the market higher. If market structure is rough in the range and or the pullback, there will be minor liquidity pools that allow the smart money to get in the market before the demand zone is broken. So there is no need to trigger the major liquidity pool. Here you must consider the different degrees of liquidity we saw previously. Now there is one very important thing you should know about this. People who teach smart money concepts like to give you the impression that understanding this is purely mechanical. But sometimes these concepts will simply fail, and the reason goes back to what was said earlier.